all due to the chaos and mismanagement of the White House. And this is not fiscal responsibility, it's moral failure. This bad bill pulls millions of children out of school, leaves small farmers without tools, wipes out access to clean water, and cuts off contraception for women and girls. Meanwhile, our adversaries are stepping in. China and Russia are seizing influence as we retreat. This bill sees Congress's power of purse, giving one man the authority to cancel funds we've already approved. I call us the disappearing Congress. And that's not how democracy works. It's how autocracy begins. Vote no on this very bad bill. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Gentleman from Massachusetts reserves. Gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gill.
Gentleman from Texas is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Tonight is the culmination of months of work from House Republicans to defund left-wing state-sponsored media outlets like NPR. And during that process, we got to bring in leadership from these outlets, like the CEO of NPR, Catherine Marr, to testify before the House Oversight Committee. I got to ask her about a lot of her past public statements. It turns out she has a prolific Twitter history. She's written extensively about every single major woke buzzword that you could think of, including, quote, the ravages of late-stage capitalism, structural privilege, her own cis-white mobility privilege. Mr. Speaker, most Americans, including myself, didn't know what that meant until reading this. The politics of representation and, of course, toxic masculinity. She also wrote about herself, about one of her major pet peeves, which is whenever she goes on an airplane and finds out that the demographics are, quote, usually greater than 80% male, usually white. Mr. Speaker, that is flagrantly racist. She's written about how, quote, I do wish Hillary, meaning Hillary Clinton, wouldn't use the language of boy and girl. It's erasing language for non-binary people. Mr. Speaker, this is the person running the outlet the other side of the aisle wants our tax dollars to subsidize. And of course, she's written extensively about race, about how America is addicted to white supremacy, how she grew up feeling superior because she is white, how America begins in black plunder and white democracy. Mr. Speaker, this is directly from her own Twitter account. Mr. Speaker, nonpartisan news outlets are not run by lunatics like this. And Republicans are done using the power that voters give us to fund Democrat media machines. We're playing to win now. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentlelady from North Carolina reserves. Gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, that guy voted to add $4 trillion to the debt, too. I now yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from New York, the distinguished ranking member of the Committee on Foreign Affairs, Mr. Meeks.
Thank you, Ranking Member
Gentleman
McGovern.
Gentleman from Maryland is recognized for 2 minutes. I'm sorry, sir. Gentleman from New York.
Thank you, Ranking Member McGovern. Mr. Speaker, this rescissions package is disastrous. It cuts $8 billion in life-saving and critical U.S. foreign assistance, including food assistance, access to clean water, and life-saving medicine. Let's stop pretending that this is about fiscal responsibility. This package is not about saving money. It's about selling a con yet again to the American people. The president claimed the United States was wastefully sending condoms to Gaza. The fact is that they were sending it to Mozambique to help stop the spread of HIV and AIDS. The president claimed that there was a wasteful $21 million grant to India. The fact is the grant never existed. And it goes on from there. The president claimed that there was a national emergency in Brazil to justify slapping a 50% tariff on a country where the U.S. runs a trade surplus for over a decade. There is no emergency. He shouted about the Epstein files, and now his administration is saying there are no such files. This all, once again, is to service a con to the American people. Let's be clear about what the Republicans are voting to defund today. Programs that help educate women and girls, programs that fight deadly diseases, food, clean water, humanitarian relief for the world's most vulnerable. Are we really going to take these things away from the most vulnerable with it? America's credibility in global leadership must not yield to this calm. Let's get to the real waste. The real waste is insinuating 500 metric tons of expired aid sitting in warehouses meant to feed suffering children in Afghanistan and Pakistan. The real fraud is telling the American people that these cuts will help them, and they won't. The real fraud is letting Elon Musk
The gentleman will suspend.
wreak havoc.
The gentleman will suspend. The House is not in order. The gentleman may resume.
The real fraud is letting Elon Musk and his Doge minions wreak havoc on state and USAID after the president fired the independent watchdogs at those agencies. This is not how you run and lead a country. This is how you run a scam on the American people. Let's call this for what it is. It's a con. Republicans claim that they're doing this to save taxpayer money, but as Mr. McGovern says continually, you cut $8 billion in foreign service, and then you add over $3-4 trillion to the American debt. It's a con.
Gentleman from New York yields back. Gentleman from Massachusetts reserves. The gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Here we go again. Not talking about the subject at hand, but trying to distract people. Same old tired song and dance. Our friends revert to demonizing and misrepresenting the big, beautiful bill. They say you can't make this stuff up, but that's what they do. We're having one success after another, and it's driving our friends across the aisle to distraction. When they had full control of the levers of power just a few years ago, they expanded the federal government with an unprecedented $11 trillion in spending, $6 trillion of which has been added to the national debt. But what's most revealing is their refusal to articulate a single program, a single outlay, or a single area of federal spending they want to reduce on behalf of taxpayers. They want every single dime of taxpayer money. And they don't like the historic cutting of $1.6 trillion in waste, fraud, and abuse in H.R. 1. They can't stomach the $9 billion here in discretionary cuts to wasteful spending. There's no upper limit to the amount of taxpayer dollars they'll throw at their government-centered schemes. How about $1 million? Can Democrats articulate a cut to a federal spending in the amount of $1 million? How about in the thousands, like the $500,000 for electric buses in Rwanda, or the $8,000 for promoting vegan food in Zambia that we're cutting now? They can't do it, and that's very unfortunate because it has dire consequences for our nation. The fact is we can't work in a bipartisan fashion to cut federal spending anymore, and that wasn't always the case. Our colleagues are addicted to a tax and spend formula that's been bankrupting our government. But we won't stand idly by. We won't wait on Democrats to take their heads out of the sand or wake up from this woke-induced coma. We're taking bold action at every level and in every facet of the federal government to get our federal spending under control. We'll do it $8,000 at a time when we have to, or $1.6 trillion at a time when we can. We've been given this mandate, and the American people are counting on us, and I reserve.
Lady from North Carolina reserves. Gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from New York, Mr. Goldman.
Gentleman from New York is recognized for 1 minute.
I thank the Speaker and the Ranking Member, and I rise today in strong opposition to President Trump's reckless and destructive rescissions bill. The proposed $8 billion cut to global aid programs is not only a short-sighted betrayal of American leadership, but it is going to result in millions of people getting sick and losing their lives. If we continue to retreat from helping countries around the world, as this administration is doing, our adversaries like China will fill the vacuum. That makes us less powerful and less safe. But it's not just lives at risk abroad. Lives here will be lost too. By defunding the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, millions of Americans will no longer have access to our national emergency weather alert system. Simply put, Americans will die because of these cuts. In addition to gutting one of the last vestiges of independent journalism, which is only biased if you think the truth is biased, the Republicans are also defunding free children's educational programs enjoyed by millions around the country. I urge my colleagues to vote no.
Gentleman from Massachusetts reserves. The gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll reserve.
Gentlelady reserved. Gentleman from Massachusetts
Mr.
is
Speaker,
recognized.
are you 1 minute to the gentlewoman from North Carolina, Ms. Adams?
Gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized for 1 minute.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. I rise today in opposition to the rule to consider the rescissions package of 2025 and its reckless cuts to public broadcasting. You know, it's not hyperbole to say that public broadcasting saves lives during emergency situations and natural disasters. My state knows that firsthand. When Hurricane Helene devastated western North Carolina last year, public broadcasting was there when traditional communications failed. Widespread power, cellular, and internet outages meant that for thousands of North Carolinians, public radio was how they received their news. Our local public broadcasting stations provided life-saving updates for our residents, broadcasted emergency resource information like food and water and distribution, and gave a direct line for North Carolinians to speak to their communities. Slashing public broadcasting funding will limit their ability to operate funding crisis and delay critical information to the people who need it most. And make no mistake, without public broadcasting, we would have seen more lives lost in Helene. So we need to protect these stations so we can protect our communities, and I yield back.
Gentleman from Massachusetts reserves. Gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I recognize myself. Mr. Speaker, let's talk about the Public Broadcasting Act of 1967, which mandates that all public broadcasting programs must demonstrate strict adherence to objectivity and balance in all programs. There's a myriad of statistical studies that prove that they are not. Perhaps most damning for NPR is the fact that it had to utilize a $1.9 million federal grant to, quote, improve objectivity and diverse viewpoints last year. And this despite the fact that NPR's CEO recently testified, as our colleague said, she didn't witness any bias at the organization. Then why the need for the federal grant? The problem with the Public Broadcasting Act is that it lacks an enforcement mechanism. So we'll go with our constitutional prerogatives here to enforce the law, and it starts with the rescission of funding. I reserve.
Gentlelady reserved. Gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 1 minute to the gentlewoman from New Mexico, Ms. Stansbury.
Gentlelady is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, you guys are so weak that you won't even vote to release the files. It's 11:20 p.m. in the middle of the night, and
gentlelady will
once again,
suspend.
The
gentlelady will suspend. The House is not in order.
Agenda through Congress in the dark.
The gentlelady will suspend. The House is not in order. Gentlelady's recognized.
And it makes me wonder, have you even read this bill? I mean, really, because this bill rescinds $9 billion for international aid, public health, and public media. It will make America less safe. It will undermine our national security, and it will threaten lives across the world and kill children. But on top of that, it undermines our Constitution, the power of the people, the power of the purse, and the separation of the power of our Constitution. As Russell Vogt, OMB, and the architects of Project 2025 are trying to use this rescission bill to undermine the power of Congress. And that is why we will vote no, a hell no, to the blatant power grab that it represents in the face of a chaotic and corrupt administration
Time has
and
expired.
Congress that is stealing from
Gentlelady is no longer recognized. Members are reminded to direct their remarks to the chair. The gentleman from Massachusetts reserves. Gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are far from weak. We are doing what the American people want us to do, and that is to let them keep more of their money and not take it and let unnamed bureaucrats spend it on their behalf. I reserve.
Gentlelady reserves. Gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
May I ask the gentlelady how many more speakers she has?
We're not quite ready to close, but we will.
Okay, well then I will
shortly.
reserve, and you can go on.
A gentleman from Massachusetts reserves. The gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 2 minutes to the distinguished chairman of the Budget Committee, Mr. Arrington.
The gentleman is recognized for 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, the era of woke and wasteful spending in the people's government is over. And it's sad to watch this last-ditch effort by my Democrat colleagues to fight for status quo. And the status quo is a cesspool of these programs, these leftist ideological programs that they would say is soft power for America's interest, or that they would say is life-saving services. Mr. Speaker, the American people rejected this radical agenda. They rejected the failed policies of my Democrat colleagues and their unbridled spending that's bankrupting this country. They sent President Trump here with a mandate and unified Republican leadership to restore competent leadership, common sense policies, and a commitment to America first. There is nothing common sense or America first about transgender comic books in Peru and all the other woke and wasteful programs that these folks are fighting to defend. Mr. Speaker, I'm thankful we have a president that has heard from the people and is hell-bent on right-sizing this bureaucracy, reining in this waste, restoring fiscal sanity here in Washington, D.C., not only for the taxpayers of today, but for the future, for prosperity, for freedom, for our children. And this is why my colleagues are going to wander in the wilderness for years to come. And while that might benefit us politically, it's sad for my country. And I'm sad as an American to see the defense of this crazy, divisive, and dangerous ideological programs that my taxpayers in West Texas are spending their hard-earned money for. I urge my colleagues on both sides to support this rescissions package. And I yield back.
Time has expired. Gentlelady from North Carolina reserves. Gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
We're prepared to close.
Okay.
All right, then I will close, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself the remaining time.
The gentleman's recognized.
Mr. Speaker, before I close, let's talk about what's actually in front of us. This rescissions package is a joke. Republicans passed a massive tax giveaway for the rich, one of the most expensive in history. That giveaway was 450 times the size of these rescissions. And every single Republican who spoke tonight voted to add $4 trillion to the debt. Every single one of them. And this isn't even good policy or process. It's rushed. It's sloppy. Even Republicans in the Senate are warning about the consequences. But the House majority doesn't care. They're more interested in headlines than outcomes. And once again, it's everyday people who pay the price. Now, let us end where we started, the Epstein files. Republicans can take a real vote today, a vote that will put them on the side of truth and justice, a vote to tell victims, we hear you, we see you, we will not protect the powerful at your expense. But instead, they are choosing cowardice. They are choosing obedience to Trump. And so they cooked up this non-binding resolution, a press release pretending to do something. So let's be clear. You either vote to release the files or you vote to bury them. And if every Republican votes to block our attempt to release the records, they are telling Epstein's victims, you don't matter as much as our political convenience. And that should disgust every single one of us. This place deserves better. This country deserves better. and the victims, most of all, deserve the truth. Release the Epstein files. Release the Epstein files. Release the files. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself the remainder of my time. Mr. Speaker, our colleagues across the aisle all night have been talking about what we're not here to discuss, which is this rescissions package. They keep...
The gentlewoman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, the House has not been in order.
The House is not in order. The gentlewoman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, our colleagues across the aisle have come here tonight, and they're not talking about what we're here to vote on tonight. They keep trying to distract the American people with things that we're not here to talk about. The American people do not want to see their hard-earned tax dollars being squandered, not one bit. At its core, H.R. 4 is about shutting off the spigot of wasteful money, clawing back the taxpayer dollars of Americans, and ensuring that wasteful and unnecessary spending is uprooted and left to wither and die. It's just that simple. That's all there is to it. With more rescissions packages on the horizon, as the President and Speaker have indicated, the best is yet to come. We're doing our job to help save the American taxpayer dollars. We know how hard it is to earn those dollars, and we don't want to see them squandered. With that, Mr. Speaker, I urge my colleagues to vote yes on the previous question, yes on the rule, and yes on the underlying bill. I yield back the balance of my time and move the previous question on the resolution.
The question is on ordering the previous question on the resolution. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
Speaker, come on. Mr. Speaker, I asked for the yeas and nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays will rise. A sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device, and pursuant to Clause 9 of Rule 20, the chair will reduce to 5 minutes the minimum time for any electronic vote on the question of adoption of the resolution. This is a 15-minute vote.
Treat from our role in the world. Foreign aid is just a sliver of our budget, but it saves lives, it prevents wars, and opens markets for American businesses. It's a smart investment in our national security. And as we speak, Mr. Speaker, there are millions of dollars of food that's been left rotting all over in ports, leaving massive numbers of people in conflict zones starving. And this is all due to the chaos and mismanagement of the White House. And this is not fiscal responsibility, it's moral failure. This bad bill pulls millions of children out of school, leaves small farmers without tools, wipes out access to clean water, and cuts off contraception for women and girls. Meanwhile, our adversaries are stepping in. China and Russia are seizing influence as we retreat. This bill sees Congress's power of purse, giving one man the authority to cancel funds we've already approved. I call us the disappearing Congress. And that's not how democracy works. It's how autocracy begins. Vote no on this very bad bill. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Gentleman from Massachusetts.